We start at 4 o'clock with breaking news. The Larimer County Sheriff's Office is saying that a suspect is now in custody after a shooting that involved deputies. It played out within the last couple of hours in Fort Collins at Edora Park. The Sheriff's Office says at least one deputy fired shots. We're continuing to try to gather more information, try to find out if anyone was hurt in the shooting and what led up to all of that. Our Janelle Finch is on the way and will join us with the latest, and we'll be able to update you when we get it.
Also at this hour, we have new video of a structure fire in Berthoud. Sky 9 giving us this view from southwest of town. When they got there, the fire looked to be mostly out, with crews working on hot spots. Berthoud Fire says 26 firefighters responded. Some may actually have to stay overnight. The roof of the barn collapsed shortly after they arrived. It's unclear what was in the barn, but we know no people were inside. The cause of that fire is still under investigation. And now former Broncos assistant coach accused of punching a police officer may avoid jail time. Officers arrested Michael Wilhoit back on February 23rd after that dispute in the passenger pickup lane at Denver International Airport. Wilhoit is accused of punching an officer who told him that he needed to move his car, which was unattended and double parked. Kevin Vaughn from 9 News Investigates is with us now. Kevin, it sounds like there's still a hurdle that needs to be cleared before we find out if there is or isn't jail time on the table.
Well, Tom and Kim, Wilhoit appears to meet the criteria for Denver's so-called diversion program. But before a judge approves it, Wilhoit needs the blessing of the officer he's accused of hitting. So far, that hasn't happened. Michael Wilhoit spent only a few minutes in Denver County Court on Monday morning, and after leaving, was courteous when asked if he had anything to say.
No, sir. Thank you.
But on his way out, he knew he had a chance of being accepted into a program that could end without him being convicted of a crime.
Diversion programs are designed to do exactly what they say, to divert someone from the criminal justice system.
9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson says programs like Denver's have a simple goal: give first-time offenders a second chance.
We don't want to ruin anybody's lives over a single incident.
Wilhoit spent the last 2 years coaching the Denver Broncos linebackers. Then came a confrontation in the passenger pickup lane at DIA. That's where, according to court documents, Wilhoit double-parked his Ford Bronco and went inside. When he returned, a Denver officer told him he couldn't do that. According to the documents, Wilhoit cursed the officer, got physical, and punched him in the face, knocking him to the ground. Now, if Wilhoit gets the officer's blessing and is granted diversion, he'd face education and public service instead of a jail cell.
The conditions of a diversion program are tailored to fit the crime.
That would likely mean classes in conflict management. And if he completes the program, he would not be prosecuted.
The reality is that diversion is an incredible opportunity to not have a criminal history at all. And an individual who is accepted into such a program should be very grateful for the opportunity to do so.
The Broncos fired Wilhoit last week. He remains free on bail and is scheduled to return to court on May 6th. We could find out then if this case will be resolved with his acceptance into the diversion program. Live in the newsroom, Kevin Vaughn, 9 News.
Kevin, just like in Wilhoit's job, the film doesn't lie, and the question is about video of this event. Who has, if anyone has, seen this video, and will this video necessarily go away if this diversion program comes into play?
That's a good question, Tom. The police have seen the video, certainly. We don't know if the Broncos have seen the video, but so far we've been unable to get either the police department or the airport to release the video that they have. And we're not sure what's going to happen once this case is resolved, whether it'll be made public then or whether it will remain as it is now, out of sight.
All right, Kevin. Well, we'll
of
course continue to wait and see what happens.
And that diversion program is interesting in and of itself, how that works. So
certainly means different things to different people. All right, Kevin. Thank you. Hey, the rough ride on Wall Street continued today. The Dow dropping 890 points at the close, but it was down more than 1,000 points earlier in the day. Investors' concerns about tariffs and uncertainty that comes with them could push the United States into recession. The Nasdaq had its worst day in 3 years, losing 4%. It's down almost 14% from its recent high. Also notable today, Tesla stock dropping 15% today.
What a day in the 70s in March. We love it. A beautiful day out at Cherry Creek State Park. Our photo journalist Tom Cole caught up with some folks and some animals, some critters, some birds, people out there enjoying the wonderful, wonderful warm day.
Yeah, getting up around 70 these last couple of days have been marvelous, Kathy. Really enjoying our little ride that we get for a few more days, right?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, if you didn't get a chance to get outdoors yesterday or today, you'll have tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, where temperatures are going to be very spring-like, even though the vernal equinox is still 10 days away. But don't tell Mother Nature that. With sunshine and 70 in the city, light winds along the Front Range foothills, and really just good travel anywhere across the state. Even 80 now in Lamar. How about that? 71 in Denver, 70 in Greeley. A bit of wind over some of the elevated terrain and higher passes, and any amount of wind with this warmth creates high fire danger. Red flag warnings for northern Colorado, the central mountain foothills, and also that I-25 corridor, Colorado Springs down to Pueblo. High clouds are coming in, but for the most part, high pressures are a dominant feature. And with the storm track to the north of us, relatively quiet weather expected for at least the next 72 hours, with just high clouds moving in from time to time. So dry weather tonight, temperatures in the lower 70s now, dropping into the 60s after sunset. And oh yeah, how's daylight saving time treating you? It was dark this morning when I got up, but guess what? The sun doesn't set till around 7 tonight, and that is going to feel amazing. Much more on the fire danger coming up, this warm weather trend, and when it comes to an end with the arrival of a Friday storm. Details with the timing and impact just ahead.
Thanks, Kathy. The warm weather, though, also is part of what we see as avalanches, and we saw this last week. Since Thursday, the Colorado Avalanche Information Center says there were nearly 200 avalanches, 61 of them triggered by people. 8 people were caught in avalanches. One of them was seriously injured. KUSA says that those numbers are higher than normal and that the weather played a big role.
Been a hit or miss kind of winter, and so when we had a bunch of fresh snow, as we headed into the weekend, I think people were just eager to get out there and enjoy it. But because all that storm snow buried this weak where on March 3rd, it did make the steep slopes, particularly anything with even a slight northerly tilt to it, susceptible to human triggered avalanches, particularly if you got on steep slopes, more than about 35 degrees in steepness.
Avalanche danger is decreased this week, but that doesn't mean they aren't just as strong if they're triggered. You can still see an avalanche. If you're going back out in the backcountry, make sure you have all the avalanche forecast and proper gear and all that information on the KUSA website.